We're here today, farm day, and we're going to look at building compost, building soil. And what I had here was a nice finished pile of compost. You can see the remains of this awesome pile that we built. Really dark cocoa color, nice finished soil. So we took this pile and we brought it out. So we're going to sift it down below. And now that we got this nice shady spot, we're going to clean up the whole area and make another compost pile. So we're looking at soil building today. And today we decided to do it the hard way, yeah? So the easy way would to be use a bunch of pre-made materials like wood chips, grass clippings. We could pile them up together, manure. I could buy some nice inputs like calphos and some minerals, rock dust. And we just pile them up and let them go, and that makes great soil. But what we do is we like to clear an area out and use the materials available to us, stacked in the right order, to build soil. So today we're actually going to do a cleanup of this area, and then we're going to go harvest some brown material over in the parking lot, and we're going to build a pile slowly, but with all the right things in the right levels. And then we're going to use soil as our inoculant to get that whole microbial process started. Okay, and this is just dirt from around the area. But we've got this nice spot. It's in the shade. It's going to be a slow burn pile. It's not going to get real hot. All the minerals and stuff are going to be preserved in the pile. And you'll see how we build it very systematically as we go, using the resources available to us, okay? So we're going to collect brown banana leaves. That's going to be our carbon. You can see here we've got a lot of nitrogen going, a lot of this greens, grass from the area, fence lines, cane grass. On the bottom layer, we're going to add a lot of this hono grass, which is a creeping grass. I like to put that on the bottom so it kind of gets burned down. And then we talked about the fact that these slow piles, these piles that don't get so hot, they're not going to necessarily burn off all the seeds. So we have to be careful about what we put in here. I've never had a problem with cane grass coming up in my soil, but things like hono grass, you're going to want to position them correctly in the pile so they get burned by the heat and don't grow up again, okay? So we're going to look as we collect materials and start to pile them up here in this pile. This cane grass is really tough, spiky grass, and it's kind of everyone's nemesis out here in subtropics. But we were talking earlier about making your enemy your ally. Because this grass grows so fast and is so hard to deal with, so hard to cut, we like to put it in our compost piles. It makes amazing soil as it breaks down, yeah? And you can see it's kind of, it's brown like this. It's almost a mixture of brown and green. And you can actually make compost with just cane grass. It's got the perfect blend of carbon and nitrogen. Makes black soil in a really quick amount of time. This is a pile of cane grass. Every time we cut that driveway down, we get huge amounts of cane grass. So this time we took all that cane grass, we piled it up, we let it break down, we piled it up again, let it break down. As I said, cane grass is a perfect blend of nitrogen and carbon. So you can see, if I dig into this pile, this has only been 3 months, but right away, look at that. I've got amazing dark soil with structure and everything, and in super short time because I'm just using cane grass. So there we go. This is a great way to build soil. It's fast, and it's something that you're gonna have a lot of, and most people don't know what to do with cane grass. Here's the answer: build soil. going to start piling up the materials that we've collected. And we've got all our brown to start our base. I've already laid down some banana logs. I've noticed that the worms really like to go up and start eating the banana logs. That's just going to give us a nice base. It's mostly dry, it's mostly carbon. So we are going to make a nice carbon float on the bottom, and then we're going to start to pile our nitrogen on top of that. So maybe what we'll do is start grabbing some of this material. And, you know, if I'm going to lay this stuff on the ground, not in a pile, I would cut this in 3 pieces. So I'd come through here and I'd go 1, another cut up here, 2, and 3. 3 pieces, right? Like that. My reasoning being, I just saw her pull a piece down out of that tree, right? That's probably been there for 6 months. It's perfectly intact, just hanging with 1 piece. As I cut that down in 3 pieces, it makes a huge difference. It's just that much more surface area. It's going to break down a lot quicker, okay? More of it touching the ground. I would say the same. So when I cut stuff and drop it on the ground, I cut it into 3 pieces for that reason. In this pile, we're kind of artificially scrunching it together. It's not going to make much of a difference. More perhaps in the top. But for the bottom, I'd say we can pretty much just lay it down like that. And we're going to shape it as we go. So let's kind of determine the size of this thing. But what I can do is I start to build the edges. So I'll just keep kind of going like this. And we're basically going for a rough raft shape, by which I mean a nice round around the edges, kind of compacted with a little bit of an indent in the middle. Okay? And what that does is it allows us to build nice, firm mound, which is going to get up as high as we can get it, right? So we build it kind of like a pyramid, nice base. Otherwise, what's going to happen is it's going to start getting steeper and steeper. Stuff's going to start falling off the edge. You realize you don't have enough surface to work with. So we're going to build a nice wide base, pack it down, make it strong, and then slowly incline it as we come up. At this point, I usually estimate the amount of materials I have and guess how massive this pile is going to be. Like when I have that whole driveway, I'm like, let's go big, you know? This one, I'm going to say, let's keep it conservative so we can try and finish this pile. Let's say we're going to do like a 7 by 7 by 7. That's kind of about this size, you know, that's 7, 8 feet. And so I'm going to say that the edges are kind of here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I'm going to build this edge. So watch the way I kind of taking the material, kind of forming it, packing it in, getting a nice edge. And you see it starts to get it's kind of airy in the middle, but here it's starting to get a little more compacted. And I'm going to keep doing that to help me do the edges. Just kind of condense the material. And what that's going to do is it's going to start to give this pile a little structure. And we'll just keep adding on, and you just work those 4 corners and the edges as we pile. I just pulled back this leaf on this banana. Check this out. Look at the amount of worms just from the dirt that's collected inside that leaf. Can you see that? It's filled with worms. Maybe you're in the sun a little bit. But look at that. There must be 10, 20 worms just in the fold of that banana leaf. Bananas are just the most incredible power horse tropical plant for growing vegetables. You can't grow vegetables in tropics without bananas. Bananas are just the surplus, yeah, the bonus. You're growing for all this stuff and all this stuff. The bottom is really dry, yeah? Can you feel how dry it is in here? When something is this dry, it's what they call hydrophobic. You ever seen that principle? Where it actually sheds water. So in order to get this wet, we're going to have to really wet it in nicely before we put the green on top of it. That's always true of the first carbon layer. So I'm going to go grab a hose while you guys, I would say, build up just this corner a little more. The rest of it looks really nice. Okay, so really soak that thing. Let's go with the green. And we remember that, yeah, this one's got hono grass and a lot of stuff, which we wouldn't normally put in the top of a pile. But this first layer, no problem, we're going to dump it right in the middle. And maybe we'll even start with all this stuff around the edges, and then the hono grass will go right in the middle on the top, okay? So again, we're going to take a big handful, and we're going to keep working on these edges. I take it right on the edge, and I start working that same shape. Okay, keep it coming. Some people call this the lasagna method, right? Because we're building it up in layers. That's a pretty fitting analogy, I guess. It's kind of like a lasagna. And then you put it in the oven to bake. Let's go ahead and put that material now as our inoculant. That's the soil that we pulled off at the very, soil that we pulled off at the very beginning, yeah? So that's gonna be our microorganisms. This is gonna inoculate our pile. So check it out. I'm just getting a layer. Now, this stuff is probably way higher grade than it needs to be. Like, this is like really amazing material. Yeah, it's got a ton of microorganisms in it, but whatever, this is what's left over from our pile. It's super rich, so we're gonna use it like this. It's a great use for it. I normally would just scoop stuff off the ground around here. Just get a flat shovel and just scoop a few inches here, boom. But this is just available to us. It's on the bottom of our pile. I could do this with a shovel, but it's almost easier with my hands because it's got so much sticks and thicker stuff in it. And I'm just trying to get a even layer. Maybe we'll leave this for the next layer. All right, that seems like a lot of bacteria. I don't know how many. I think that's about 57 trillion. Okay. They say if you can see the white fuzz, there's a trillion present. You can actually see them. So like this, if I go here and pull up, can you start to see the white fuzz? There it is. Can you see that? That white fuzz there? That's bacterial colonies, yeah? Let me see if you can see them. There's a trillion. So you'll see that all over. That's a sign that we have healthy soil, living soil. And this is a dry area. If you go in here, you're gonna see a lot more. Okay, so what goes next?
Brown.
Brown. There it is. Okay, next layer. You can see already we're gonna need a little green for that top layer. We've got enough of this. But I'd say we're probably one more layer away from being finished, yeah? If we had a ton of material, if we were like clearing out that whole, we could go another one on top, make the 8-foot pile. But we can also do it in stages. We can do our pile now and then come back in a few weeks, say, hey, let's add some green on top of that. Maybe next time I mow this, maybe boom, that goes right on top, okay? I can always add more green, yeah? That's always gonna break down faster what we got going. So let's do another layer.
Okay.
And I'll send some people to start harvesting more green. One layer done on the compost. We're gonna go another layer, brown, green, and then that inoculant on top. And maybe another layer of brown as a cap. We're gonna water that all down, and then we'll let that sit for 6 months. It's gonna break down. Even in the first week, it's gonna go down to half. And we'll let that cook. And we're gonna check it for insects. When the millipedes start to go out, those little round, red, you know, the ones that roll up, but they're like round and long like this. When they start to leave, you know, that compost is getting ready. It's usually about 6 months, depending on the weather. And since it's nice and dry right now, we'll probably leave it without a tarp. It's not gonna get too wet. And it'll have a nice moisture balance and cook for the next 6 months till we have black gold ready for the garden. So if you liked our video, give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell, and you'll be notified of all our future videos. Right on, guys. Thanks so much for joining.